Chapter 1. A Boy from Vinci. Leonardo was born on April 15, 1452, in a small Italian town called Vinci. That's why he's called Da Vinci. It means from Vinci. He was born during a special time in history called the Renaissance, which means rebirth. It was a time when people started thinking differently. They believed they could shape their lives, change the world, and explore new ideas. Little Leonardo lived with his father and spent most of his time exploring nature near his home. He loved watching birds and animals, and he was always amazed by the beauty of the countryside. Chapter 2. Learning to paint. When Leonardo was about 15 years old, his father noticed that he loved to draw and was really good at it. So he sent him to the big city of Florence to become an apprentice to a famous artist named Andrea del Verrocchio. An apprentice is a student who learns a skill by working with a master. Florence was full of artists and sculptors. In Verrocchio's workshop, Leonardo learned to paint, sculpt, and help his teacher with artworks. He stayed there until he was about 20. Then he joined the Painters Guild of Florence. This meant he was now a professional artist. He began sketching with pens and drawing machines and weapons. He was very curious about how things work, and he even started inventing his own cool gadgets. He loved inventing. Chapter 3. Working in Milan. Paintings and a giant horse. Around age 30, Leonardo moved to Milan to work for the city's ruler, Duke Ludovico Sforza. Leonardo painted, designed inventions, and worked as a brilliant engineer for the Duke. During this time, he painted two very famous works, The Virgin of the Rocks, The Last Supper, showing Jesus and his 12 disciples having a meal together. He also helped design buildings and gave ideas for military machines. For 12 years, he worked on a design for a giant bronze horse sculpture. It would be 24 feet, 7 meters tall. But just before it was finished, war broke out, and the bronze was taken to make cannons instead. The horse was never completed. Many years later, people raised money and finally built Leonardo's giant horse. Chapter 4. Painting the mysterious Mona Lisa. After the war, the Duke lost power, and Leonardo left. He kept working in Milan, and he took in students to teach. When the French army invaded Milan, Leonardo moved back to Florence, the city where he had once learned to be an artist. There, he painted one of the most famous paintings in the world, the Mona Lisa. Her gentle smile has puzzled and amazed people for hundreds of years. Chapter 5. Scientist Leonardo. Leonardo wasn't just a great artist. He loved to learn everything. He studied math, science, and especially anatomy, how the human body works. He watched how birds fly and how air and water move. He looked at the world in a new way. He wanted to know how the body works, how birds fly, and where movement comes from. He never thought things were just the way they are. He always wanted to understand why. He believed nature follows special rules and patterns. That idea was very advanced for his time. Chapter 6. From Rome to France. In 1513, when he was about 60 years old, Leonardo moved to Rome and worked for Giuliano de' Medici at the Vatican. When he was about 65, the King of France invited Leonardo to move to France and made him the king's chief painter, architect, and engineer, an amazing honor. In France, Leonardo kept painting, writing, sketching, and designing palaces and gardens. He spent a lot of time organizing his notebooks and drawings. Luckily, many of them are still with us today. Leonardo passed away in France at age 67.
a genius ahead of his time.
Leonardo imagined things that wouldn't be real for hundreds of years, like airplanes, helicopters, parachutes. All of these appeared in his notebooks. One of his greatest talents was combining art and science. He's often called a Renaissance man, someone curious and skilled in many areas, able to blend them into amazing creations.
Inspiration for us. Leonardo believed that artists understand the world best because they see and feel things in special ways. Even a small flower or a little bee holds magical secrets. If you take time to observe carefully and record what you see, you too can begin to understand the wonders of the world. Just like Leonardo,